Hello, hello, good afternoon, happy Saturday, and welcome to another episode of Speaking Plain English. And I am your host, Roberta. And I just want to start off with this very, very interesting fun fact, or not fun fact, but this interesting piece of information that I got today, this morning, actually. Not information, but something that I've noticed. So, for those of you who are on Facebook and have been for quite a while, you may know that we have what's called the Facebook memories, where you can have the opportunity to see what you were doing or what was posted, what you posted, or what was posted on your page, um, in past years. I think they go up to mine have gone up to I think 14 years, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, I'm making mention of that because on this day in 2020, I did a live video. It wasn't, I didn't have speak. Actually, it was really, really interesting is I started speaking plain English a couple of months after, now that I think about it. But it was just through like Anchor, which my episodes are still there. However, what I saw today is that there was a memory of Jeremiah with me. I think Liberty was in school, and this is before Jeremiah was in school, before Jeremiah started school. But I was doing a live. I think I was talking about Skinny Brew. I believe it was when I was doing it was Works products, and I was making my greens and reds, which I still love. But Jeremiah came on telling people to what was it? He said to like and subscribe my channel. So and then you become my number one fan or something along those lines. I did not have a YouTube channel during that time. So I just think it's the craziest thing. It's not crazy at all because I mean, it's just not crazy. I'm trying to fix up. Nope, it doesn't matter. I'm playing around with this layout because I don't like how it looks right now. But it is what it is. But I just think it is the funniest thing that today um that Jeremiah has, I guess, prophesied, I'll put it like that, in 2020 that I would have a YouTube channel. And lo and behold, 3 years later, we're up here on YouTube. And I just think that it's the funniest thing. And what I said was, I'm not sure if some of you who have seen my YouTube page have looked on there. I reposted it actually. Not I reposted that I put that there. I didn't actually repost the live. However, I just wanted to start with that because here we are 3 years later. And I think I've been doing Speaking Plain English. I've been doing Speaking Plain English live. Maybe it's been a year. I think it's been a year. I think it has been a year. And I'm saying that because recently I noticed that I had my first, yes, it has been a year, my first episode with Carlene, my cousin Carlene. So I did my first live episode with her a year ago, somewhere within this week. So I don't know what's happening. I don't know, what God is doing, but I'm just excited for the journey. I'm excited for how where this is going and where Speaking Plain English is, how it's been progressing. And I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I don't really have a topic today. I really don't. And I do, but I don't. And the reason why I say that is because I had an idea of something that I wanted to discuss, and it's kind of like it didn't leave me. I wanted to talk about like how, because I work at a doctor's office. Those of you who don't know, I work at a doctor's office. And I was talking to my mother yesterday, and I was just talking about how like patients at the doctors, different patients have no patience, like none. So that was going to stem into something else, and it was just a thing that I wanted to discuss, but I kind of shifted a little bit. And then just a few minutes before even coming on just now, I'm like, God, what are we going to talk about? Why? You know, because I don't want to just be on here rambling like I'm doing now. But my daughter actually gave me an idea to discuss, you know, to discuss life and how things are different, you know, from older generations to now, which is very interesting because I was just watching an episode of oh my goodness, my brain. Solid Saturdays by Sharice Stevenson. Shout out to her. And she has a guest on. Her name's Elizabeth Wilson. And that was pretty much what they were discussing. And Liberty was not, she was actually sleeping while I was watching. So she didn't even hear. And I wasn't even near her. She was upstairs and I was in the kitchen making breakfast. So for her to say that, you know, that must be what it is that we need to talk about today. Um, Not wanting to, you know, copy or even like piggyback off of the discussion for today in another episode. However, I think it's interesting, you know, and I think it's important to understand that okay, so for those of you who know me, y'all know I like to do things differently. Y'all know that I like to take a different approach to things. I do nothing like everybody else, or at least that's my goal, is to not do everything the way everybody else does just because everybody else does it. I'm not very I'm not big on tradition per se, and it depends on what it is and depends on the purpose of it, because to me things that are done just for the sake of tradition and not know, you know, it doesn't make sense to do things just because it's traditional, and you don't know where it comes from, you don't know why you do what you do. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of things that you know, we do and we grow up with and we are taught and we learn. And I honestly think that that's the reason why scripture, it's why the Bible said, why the Bible talks about, you know, keeping, like teaching your generations, not just the actual words, you know what I mean? Not just the laws, and not just um the stories, I guess you can say, the things that were done, were passed on, or have happened in the past, but it's not taught just to be, you know, just to have that, just to say that we did it. I'll put it like that, just to say that it was done, but so that you can know where you've come from, so that you can know what is possible, so that you can know what you know, what our family, and you know, I think that's why that I think when you do things traditionally for that purpose, that makes more sense, and I like that better than to just do things just because we did it. This is how we always do it. And there's a lot of that that goes on. You know, there's a lot of things that are being passed on without anybody actually taking the time to, you know, to wonder, well, why do we do it this way? You know, why is this a a tradition for us? What does it actually mean? And when you do things like that, that leaves people ignorant. You know what I mean? It leaves people to just follow things and not to think for themselves. And honestly, honestly, I'm gonna be honest. I think that's part of where we're headed. Unfortunately, I think it's where like a lot of future generations are heading, because we are, you know, expected to do things and looking to do things without actually taking the time to research and sit and talk with, you know, with our younger generation as to why we do what we do. um and I think that that could be part of the reason why there's so much difference between the younger generation and now, the older, I'll put it like the older generation, I'm sorry, and now. But what I will say, what I love about the discussion that was had earlier, and what came to mind was, there's a song, and I can't remember the name of it, but it's by India Ari. Um, I wish I could think of the name of the song, but it was pretty much it's talking about like if young people would talk to old people, and old people, it'll make us a better people all around. And then if old people will talk to young people, it'll make us a better, you know what I mean? And there's a part in the song where I love where she says, I can teach you the age old philosophy, and you can teach us the, you can teach me the modern technology. And that's something that we actually like, if we looked at it that way, if we took the time to actually listen to each other, because I've said this before, older generations some grew up in a manner where children were taught to be seen and not heard. So in other words, if you had any questions about things as a child, or if you were told to just do things just because I said so, or we were taught to that we were not supposed to, we couldn't ask questions, and you don't question, even like the whole thing of not questioning God, which I think is nonsense. And it's not, that's what I think. It's not, it's not scripture. It's actually not, that's not what God wants. God wants us to ask questions. God wants us to, to get to know him. And that's part of a way to get to know him. But you ask questions, you're not going to always agree with everything. And I think that's something that we need to get out of the habit of thinking that somebody who is older than us can't learn from us. And because it's far from the truth. There are so many different things that are happening now that that the older generations are not used to, and they're not privy to. And it's not that they're not privy to it, it's that they're not they don't have the knowledge of it, specifically with technology, because life is always evolving. You know what I mean? There's in I guess I am going to have to piggyback off of what the discussion was earlier. It's not that certain different things, are wrong. It's that it's different. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. So my daughter is saying, I think it's very interesting how she wanted to, I think it's because if she's saying that this is something that she thinks I should discuss, I think it's something that she's interested in, and she's 10. You know what I mean? And to hear her make a suggestion like that tells me that she wants to know. You know what I mean? She wants to know, and I'm sure other children her age and other people, around her age are wanting to know, and they're wanting to hear, and they're wanting to understand the difference between things from older generations, from centuries, from oh, even then, but decades before. Like, I'm a whole 4 decades old, and I can sit here and remember. Yes, I'm gonna age myself, and I'm okay. I can remember when we had like, no, I can remember not ever having a cell phone. I can remember the phones when they had cords. I remember the TVs when they were huge boxes. You know what I mean? Like, you could barely move that thing. Nobody could really, successfully, well, even though some people did. But I remember that. I remember like the huge box TVs, and I remember like cassette tapes, and um like, we didn't have, like I said, we didn't have cell phones. I remember we didn't have computers. I mean, I remember that. And I'm 40. And to think about, people like kids my daughter's age, and even, maybe even 10 years younger than me, not knowing what life was like without it. And sometimes I have to even remember, like, man, I have to think back to, what did I do before GPSs? And then I think about it, and I'm like, MapQuest. But you needed a computer for MapQuest. What did we do before MapQuest? You know what I mean? So think about, if those of us who are, those who are older, and even now that I'm getting older, there's going to be, I was able to watch a whole huge transformation and evolution of life, and of, in the technology age. You know what I mean? And to be able to see all that we didn't have then, and that we have access to now. I remember these big, as far as like even things like this, I remember huge cameras, and they still have those and they're still very functional. But you can do a whole broadcast, you can do a whole movie, shoot a whole movie with a device, with a handheld device. That was unheard of at some points. And to see that, people are actually coming up with new ideas and new things, I'm going to tell you what that says to me. And I'm going to tell you what that says to me now, even at this point in my life. There's no such thing as a crazy idea. There is no such thing as a crazy idea. And on top of that, there's no such thing as it being too late to start. And that's something that I am really starting to learn, and something that I am really starting to grasp and get a hold of, and to really understand. Like, because there's a lot of different things that I've wanted to do, and I can't say wanted to do, but that I still want to do. And I had I would have been much further along with it had I had the confidence, you know what I mean? And had I thought that I was capable, or had I thought that it wasn't a stupid idea, or nobody's going to be willing to, to listen, or nobody's going to be willing to, things like that. And all of this, like, we're going to jump around a little bit when it comes to, because when it comes to discussion today, because there's I guess there's some stuff that I'm noticing and I'm realizing, and maybe some of you can relate. So those of you who know me know that I absolutely love music. Like, I love music. It's been something that has been instilled in me since I was little. My mom says that, I remember my mother telling me that there was a song by the Clark sisters that I used to absolutely love when I was a baby, and it was the Higher song. I think Beyonce even sampled that. I want to say she did, because the song was like, hi, yeah, 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 hi, yeah, 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 hi. Yes, she did. I'm trying to think of what song she used to sample that. Oh, it was Jay-Z actually that sampled it. Oh, I can't remember. Is it Family? Legacy? It's not Legacy, it's Family Feud, I think. It's Family Feud. Whatever the case may be, Jay-Z sampled the song, and I think it was dope. I love that song. Yeah, me like, the reason why I said Beyonce is because Beyonce was featured in that song. But yes, it was Family Feud. That song is actually dope. That whole 444 album of Jay-Z's was dope, and a lot of people slept on it. Anyway, that was not an endorsement unless they're willing to pay me for it. But what I'm saying is, music has been something that I've loved since conception. I guess I'll put it like that. But what I used to do is I used to like, whenever, and it was just something natural, I used to harmonize to everything, like everything. And I can remember just being young. I don't remember how old I was, but I still do it to this day. But I just remember, day after day, whenever we would go riding in a car, sit in the back of the car by the window, looking outside and hearing whatever it was that was playing, that my parents had playing, I would just be back there quietly harmonizing it to myself. And I always wanted to do that. I didn't know that could be not transformed. That could be a career, that could be translated to having a career of a vocal arranger. It never dawned on me until, y'all ready for this? Like, maybe a month or two ago. Honestly and truly, it never really dawned on me like that until like about a month ago. And I think what hit me, where, like, what started it was, because I follow a lot of different people on Instagram that, that are awesome artists, and those who are up and coming. And there's one in particular that I love. Like, I love to hear when people do the like the different, like the one person who goes on and does different, um oh my goodness, like pick, play, post, and I think Voicey is another one, where you pretty much, you go on and you film yourself singing a song, but you sing the different parts. So it's one person singing a whole, arrangement of parts. And I've watched Ashley J and Jahiris and Gabriel Kunda. I think that's how he spelled his name, or pronounce his name. Um I think her name is India Carey, if I'm not mistaken. There's a good amount of people on there, and even like the comedians like Will Johnson. It's crazy. So like, they'll be on there and they'll have all of these, these things where they'll like have all of these different harmonies, and it's just like, it's fed me. And I didn't realize it until, like, I guess, like I said, a couple of months ago, that people actually, that's something that people do, and that's a career, because not everybody can pick up harmony, and it was just a natural thing for me. You know what I mean? And I never it never dawned on me that people actually, that's part of production. And that's something that it has kind of discouraged and encouraged me. I say it discouraged me because I'm like, man, I could have been doing this eons ago, because I was literally doing it. You know what I mean? I was doing it just because. And I guess that's how. And I've been seeing posts and stuff. Like, there have just been a lot of different things that I have been seeing lately that has been really pushing me, and to recognize, first of all, life is short, number one, and two, it's time to start doing what it is that I was placed on this earth to do. It's time for me to start doing um what it is that I enjoy and what I love. Like, it's time to live. You know what I mean? And of all of the different things that I enjoy doing, of all the different things like event planning and things like that, I can get tired of stuff like that. But one thing that I will never ever get tired of is anything that involves music. Anything that involves music. And when I say tired of it, like, I'll work, like, I'm starting, should I say that? Okay, so I will. I'm working on something. I've been um I've been working on it for technically 2 years, I guess. I'm started something a couple of years ago, and it was put on pause for a while, and now I'm actually doing it myself. I'll put it like that. And when I tell you, I'm not sure whether or not I mentioned it before, but I want to say that I did mention it before. I want to say that I did mention it before, but I'm working on some stuff, and I got the equipment that I need to do it. And since I've gotten the equipment, when I tell you the fire that I'm teaching myself how to do it, and I'm also getting some help as well. But for the most part, I'm going in and I'm playing around with the different equipment and whatnot, and I'm learning how to actually make things happen and create the sounds and stuff that I want. And it's not quite exactly where I want it to be just yet. And I'm learning to give myself grace, and I'm learning to understand, Roberta, you have to remember, even though I have these ideas in my head and I know what I want it to sound like, I have to remind myself sometimes, Roberta, you just got it. You're just learning. So it's coming. You just have to give it patience. You have to give yourself that room, that patience. So, and you have to give yourself the grace to stumble and to fall and to find, first of all. And that's how you know. That's how you know when it's something that you need to be doing, because there's a fire that burst within you whenever it, whenever, like, it's something that you can't stop thinking about. Like, I want to say in Sister Act 2, if those of you who remember, when she was telling, I'm so mad I can't think of her name. What was her name in the movie? Lauryn Hill's character. I can't remember what her name was in the movie. But when Whoopi Goldberg's character, Sister Mary Clarence, when she was telling, oh my goodness, I'm so mad I can't remember her name. When she was telling Lauryn Hill's character, it's gonna come to me, that she, that whenever you wake up in the morning and that's the first thing that you think about, and you go all the way, throughout your day thinking about it, that's what you're meant to do. And that's what you're built to do. I'm going to say this to you. Like, I'm learning that there has, again, anything that has anything to do with music at all, I love it. And I have to be surrounded. Like, it's something that, and when I say because I don't want to be an artist. I don't. I don't. And I have my reasons for that. But for the most part, I love doing background vocals, production. You know what I mean? Like, I think that I'm more of a I can't say that I'm not a creator, because I believe that I do have, yeah, because I have created some stuff that I'm actually working on. But I think I'm more of an enhancer. I'll put it like that. I think I'm more of no, maybe I just thought that I was more of an enhancer than an actual creator, because I do have concepts and I do have ideas and I do have a voice of my own and ideas of my own that I feel not the I guess the need to share and the desire to share, because I know that I'm not the only one who has these thoughts and ideas, and I've, in Roberta's traditional way, if traditional way, it's different. I have a different idea, and I'm not going to give it away, but I think this is going to be something, like, I'm working on it now, and it's going to be interesting. It's going to be so interesting, and it's going to be something that I really and truly honestly hope helps people to not only understand that it's not too late to do what you love, not too late to go for what you want. I hope y'all are not hearing these notifications. But it's not too late. It is so important that we take the time that we have in that we have in this life and actually do something with it. And when I say do something with it, I mean, like, finding what you were placed on this earth for. And for the most part, I heard somebody say yesterday, that if it's so big that it scares you, then that's God. That's God telling you to go in that direction. That's because I have yet to experience something that God has intended or planned or assigned that doesn't scare me. I have yet to experience that. Anything, like, this platform, this was not anything that I was ever interested in doing, because I really and honestly and truly don't really like talking to people. You know what I mean? I don't like the spotlight. I don't like to be in the forefront. And that's one reason why I had such a big problem with doing music and even, things like that, because I didn't want to. I would have rather taken my idea and give it to somebody else to do. And that was originally what I was planning on doing. But after working on part of it, it was like a unanimous decision. Like, I'm not even 1, 2, 3. I think it was 3 of them that were there. Yeah. When we started working on a song that I have an idea for, that I'm still doing, I was given, letting them know how it goes, letting them hear the idea. I actually recorded it and recorded my idea on a voice note, and I sent it to them so that they can kind of get an idea of what it was that I was looking to do and things like that. And what I was saying during the conception of the song, um was that I was trying to find somebody to actually sing it. And all three of them was like, no, you got to do this. This is your song. You have to do this. And I'm like, but I don't want to. And they're like, you need to do this. This is yours. Get you some vocal training. You got it. You can do it. Go ahead and get some vocal training and do this because you have it. It's your song and you can actually do this. And I'm like, ah. But in that, in all three, like, and the thing is, if nothing else, I know at least one of the people who were there that said that would not tell me to do it if they didn't think that I could. And so I'm like, even though I know all three of them would be straight up, or at least two, but one for sure would tell me, nope, you're right. Go ahead and get somebody else to do it because no, I know for sure. So my thing is, if there are, if there's other people who believe in me, and to that point where, and see something in me where they're like, yeah, you can actually do this yourself. Do this because you can. Then it's up to me to find within myself, the tools that's necessary to go forth and perfect it the way that I need it to. I need the thing is, it's not that it can't be done, it's that there's some work that needs to be done involved. There's some work that's involved. And it's just a matter of, am I willing to actually do the work? And I'm doing that in more ways than I thought that I would, but I'm finding it so much fun. So much fun. So I'm not going to stay here for too long and talk too much because I'm pretty much done. But what I want to leave with everybody for as a thought for the day, and the reason why I had to come on and the reason why I had to do this today is because, again, I'm working on, for those I may have mentioned before, I'm working on consistency. I'm working on being consistent and following my word and to myself, because I have this thing where I will tell myself, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And then I'll start, and then I just won't finish it, or I'll slack off later. And I'm tired of disappointing myself. I'm tired of being so much to so many other people that I don't actually take the time to commit to what I need to do for me, and the same commitment. So I'm recognizing that, Roberta, the same way that you'll go hard for so many other people, and you'll go hard and you'll support and you'll do this, that, and the third for other people, you need to do that for you. So part of that is being consistent to myself, even when my days are mixed up and they're flying by so fast to the point where it's gone and the week is here and the next episode and the next topic is coming, and it's like I don't have time. I haven't had time to to really plan out what I want. I still need to come on here, and I still need to to speak what it is that, I don't want to say that just comes out, but to speak what it is that's on my heart, because who knows? Somebody may actually have needed to hear that. Somebody may have needed to know that it's not too late. Somebody may have needed that, to take this as, this is your sign. Start today. Whatever it is that you have been procrastinating with, or that you've been kind of pondering about doing, or you've been afraid to start, and it's a passion of yours, or you're wondering how is it going to work. Any assignment that I'm learning is that any assignment that God gives you, or anything that he puts you on this earth for, he's going to equip you with it. You may not have all that you feel like you need, but you have everything that you need right when you need it. At this moment, you have what's needed to research, to start, you know what I mean? To do the research, to find out exactly what it is that you need. And I've learned this from experience because I thought that certain things were so out of my reach and were, would be so out of my reach that it doesn't even make sense to start. But come to find out, things are not as out of our reach that we think. I'm gonna give you an example. When it came to like even starting with music, I thought that I had to have this huge mixing board and, have all of these different things. And yes, even though that they are required, they're not as unreasonably priced as people may think they are. And not only that, I'll put it like this: even if it is more than what you have, God will always make a way for it to happen. He will always make a way for it to happen. Like, one of the things that stopped me for so long was like, I don't know what to do. I'm not a musician. I don't know, I would much rather have live music than to put tracks together, or I don't know how to use a mixing board. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do that. I don't have the money to get all of this equipment. But I tell you, when you allow God to order all of your steps and when you allow God to give you directions for everything, he will make ways. Like, he'll make things happen. Honestly and truly, I've watched it. I'm experiencing it. True story. First of all, let's start with the fact that I don't like Apple products, even though I'm using some now. Sorry, y'all. I just don't. And the reason why I don't is because I feel like they're discriminatory. That's just my one of the things. And there's so many features about different things that are annoying to me. But like, why in the world do I have to make an extra step? Like, I'm saying, if I actually get to send somebody a voice note, and the only reason why I'm able to do that is because they have an Apple product themselves. I can't send Android users. That's just so annoying to me. But anyway, and it's inconvenience. But anyway, they need to fix that. But an Android user can send, I just think that's stupid. But anyway, if I send a voice note to somebody, I have to take the extra step of pressing the button to have them keep it there instead of deleting it like otherwise it'll delete it automatically. And I'm like, what? This makes no sense. It makes no sense to me. To me. I know some people who would love that feature and who may love that feature. And that's great for sneaky people. But at the end of the day, it annoys me because sometimes I like to go back and re-listen, or sometimes I need to go back and re-listen because I want to verify that what I heard was actually what I heard. Or I needed, if it was a word of encouragement or something, I needed to hear that again. You know what I'm saying? Or if it was even something like that I said that I wanted to make sure that I said what I said, or if there was a misconception of something, if I didn't keep that message, I don't have the opportunity to go back and hear, okay, did I say it this way or did I say da 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 da? You know what I mean? So it's just annoying. But anyway, that's one of, even though I did not ever see myself having and owning any Apple products, God made it so that I had to get it. And not only did I have to get that, but it opened a door for me to get the other things that I needed, which did not come as expensive as it could have. And it was because God knows where I am and what it would take for me to do what I needed to do. Because honestly and truly, I felt like there was no other way that I was going to get the MacBook that I needed, the the interface, and then everything else, the microphone, like all of that came from my cousin. Shout out to Parish, who was looking for somebody to sell his stuff to for very inexpensive, a whole package, because he had upgraded his system and he barely uses his. And he's like, I'm just waiting for somebody who I know is going to use it. And we had already talked about different, like he's actually helping. He was helping me work with, with working on something that I was working on at one point. So God just, that just goes to show you, that just, I say that to say, when there's no reason, there's no excuses. When God wants you to do something, he'll make a way to do it. All you have to do is be willing to say, okay, all right, what do I need to do? What can I do? Be willing to say yes. And that goes with everything. What is it that I can do? What can I do at this point? Because whatever it is that we need to do, we need to do it. And then he'll step in with the rest. He'll step in with the because the scripture says faith without works is dead. In other words, you can believe for something all day long. You can believe that I'm going to get this done, or I'm going to, like, all right, let's be practical. I'm looking to move, right? And I have a certain date that I have set in mind that I'm going to have my keys. I have it. I already know exactly when it's going to happen. Where? I don't know yet, but I already know by a certain date I'm going to have those keys. I cannot sit here and say I'm going to have keys by such and such a date. I'm just going to have it. I'm just going to do it, and then do nothing. Put nothing to work, like not go looking or not search. You know what I'm saying? That makes no sense. Because there are certain things that God requires us to actually take part in. You know what I mean? And then he'll work the rest out. So I'm not going to sit here and say, I'll put it like this, I can't say I'm going to move on such and such a date and not go actively looking. And when I say actively looking, I mean actively looking at different places, online, and actually going to look at them. Like, honestly and truly, I'm keep it all the way in my heart with y'all. There was a place that I saw that was everything that I needed. And it was where I needed it. It was the right price, everything. I couldn't get into the place. I even went to go look to see it a few times, and I was not able to get inside, but I saw that it was being renovated, because they, you can see the tools and everything from the window. And I'm like, okay, so they're working on it. Cool. This is my no. And I'm gonna let y'all in on this, and then I'm done. So I would go back there, and I just kept saying that what's mine is mine. What's mine is mine. And I go back, and I remember, was it yesterday? Yesterday, um, I just had this, I don't even know how to put it. Like, I just woke up feeling this huge bit of inspiration. I'm gonna tell you what did it. I watched, I didn't even know. Like, I every so often I'll watch the Terrell Show. For those of you who don't know, there's a guy. I don't know if you would call him I guess a YouTube influencer. I guess, but his name is Terrell Grice, and shout out to him. Huge shout out to him, because he is the kind of guy. He's a guy that actually, like, introduces people, new artists and things like that. And he has what's called the Blue Wall, and so he plays a game called Song Association with them. But anyway, he has celebrated his 6th season the other day, and it aired. I didn't realize it aired yesterday, or 2 days ago. Was it yesterday? What's today? Today's Saturday. I'm not sure if it was Thursday or Friday, but it aired. I think it aired Thursday. I think it aired Thursday or Friday. I think, I'm trying to remember. I don't remember exactly when, but it was either, I was watching it late, like really late. Thursday. It was Thursday night. That is when it aired, and I didn't know that it was actually on. I had just went on YouTube to look up something else, and I saw that it was there. No, I looked on Instagram to look up something, and then I saw that he had Kierra Sheard as a guest, and I'm like, oh, I have got to see. And the thing is, it was just something. Some of the hilarity that was going on during the episode. There was a clip that was shown, and one thing I love about Kierra Sheard is how human she is. Like, she's so human. When I say human, I mean like she's silly. You know what I mean? And she's down to earth. And I've never met her, but you can just tell by watching her that she's hilarious to hang with. She's, an awesome person to be around. I would love to meet her. Honestly, we'd get along. But what my point was, I saw that, and so I'm like, oh, I didn't even realize that they were doing something, So I went to go watch it, and when I tell you that whole thing, like, she was the guest, and she in addition to her being the actual guest, she also advertised that her album, All Yours, also released yesterday, and I still have yet to listen to the whole thing, but that whole episode was a fire starter for me. Not even a fire starter, because I had already had the fire lit, but it was like some extra wood and some extra gasoline. And that just made something grow in me. And then there was a prayer that she prayed over Terrell. Man, I'm so glad. If you ever see this, Terrell, thank you for sharing that prayer that she prayed with you, because like you said in your post, that wasn't just for you, sir. It wasn't just for you. So first of all, thank you, Kierra, for, if you ever see this, for that prayer for him, because it hit me. I don't know who else it reached out to, but it reached me for sure. And even though it was late at night, it was super late. I had to be like around after midnight that I watched it. But it did something to me where it just reminded me of some things and confirmed some things, and I just began to like completely decree and declare what things are going to be. And like, my mindset has been, even though things may not always seem what they may not always seem to be made known, as far as like how, I don't have to worry about the how. The how is none of my business. And I'm learning that. The how is none of our business. It's what we do with what we have and what we know. We speak a thing and we declare a thing, and we believe that thing. You know what I mean? So what I said, and I declared it, I said today, and I said this yesterday, I'm going to find out. I'm going to know. I'm going to have clarity on what my next move is and what I need to do. And I'm going to have clarity on several different things. There were a few different things that I have been, that I have before God, that I've been praying about, that I've been believing for. And I'm going to get clarity on those things. And I said today, and I meant that. And before yesterday, I had been going back to that place, to that house, and I had been looking at it, and I'm, declaring it and everything, and saying, this is mine, this is mine, this is mine. And once I was never able to actually go inside. I was never able to reach the landlord or the owner of the house. I was not able to reach anybody until yesterday. And yesterday I went and I looked and I saw that they're still working on it. And so I was actually what I normally do is I turn the knob to see if it's open or to see if there's anybody in there. And the door opened this time, and it never did before. Come to find that there were two men actually working on the rooms upstairs. And so they let me take a look around, and I'm like, okay, I can actually see the kids are not here for the time being that we need, because it had what we needed. And so I asked him to reach out to the landlord and let him know that I was trying to reach him. And he did. And what ended up happening was I spoke to I spoke to the landlord, and it turns out that whatever this is, like, from what he says, that he wouldn't be able to rent the property to me. And I'm like, okay. But that was partially of the that was clarity that I needed, because what that means is, okay, if this ain't it, then that means there's something else is, and something else is better. Because although it was the house was something, I could see us in, I could see us in it, because there were a few details in there that I really wanted, and then there's one that I'm like, I'm not really fond of. So that brought my mind back to when I was pregnant with Liberty. And it may feel like I'm going all around, but it all ties in, trust me. So I saw in that house that there were certain things that I wanted. But then there is a couple of things that kind of was like, I don't care for this, but all right, I'll accept it. It reminds me of when God reminded me of when I was pregnant with Liberty, and um I was dealing with preeclampsia. I had my blood pressure was all through the roof. Those of you who know what preeclampsia is, and you know how that is. My vision was blurry. I was a whole like Marshmallow Man. I looked like Marshmallow Man from Ghostbusters. Um, I was that puffy, and I was that swollen. I'll put it like that. And I ended up having to go get rushed to the hospital because I almost like my blood pressure was through the roof, and I almost ended up having a seizure. So I went to the hospital, and they didn't tell me what was going on, and for good reason. They didn't tell me what was going on exactly, because I didn't know everything that was going on. So I went, and they told me that once before I even got there, um, my doctor called me. Like, I called them because they told me that if first of all I was on bed rest, and they told me that if your blood pressure gets to a certain point, to call, to call the clinic, or call after hours or something like that. So I called my doctor, and I called the facility, and they told me, okay, so what I want you to do is, they wanted me to go to the ER. And I'm like, okay. So a little bit after, I want to say 5 minutes after I was getting ready to go, I got another call from my doctor, and she said, so this is what I need you to do. I need you to go to the ER. We're going to transfer you to this other hospital, which is Maria Ferrera on Westchester Medical Center, which is, they have a specialty for premature babies and children. So I was already prepared. They didn't give me, they were very, very calm in their tone. But I went there, and in a nutshell, the symptoms that I had were worse than they thought. And so they gave me an IV of magnesium to kind of calm, my symptoms down. But they kept me there because they felt like she could seize at any moment, and we need to be ready for when if she does. And meaning me. But everybody was still calm and everything. So we went over to Maria Ferrera, and long story short, my symptoms had dissipated, and they kept me there because they needed me to be there. They were expecting for the symptoms. They felt like they only stopped the symptoms. The magnesium only helped for the symptoms to go away temporarily, so that I could make it from the hospital that I was at to the hospital that I was going to. Because if I had a seizure, anytime within transfer, that would have been it for the both of us. Um, so I'm at the hospital, and they're not wanting to remove it, because I was only 25 weeks pregnant then. And they didn't want to remove Liberty if they didn't have to. And so they decided to, to keep me ready so that in the event that things got worse, they would be, prepared. So my symptoms had calmed down. And so they're like, okay, so let's keep her here, but we're going to wait. In a nutshell, I want to say I was in that hospital for a month and a half for them waiting for my symptoms to return. Day after day, the doctor told me, the symptoms are going to return. We need you to be here when it does, this, that, and the third, da, 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 da. And so they never did. And one day I said to God, I said, Lord, I want to go home. And if this is something that you're using to astonish the doctors, then have them send me home. Mind you, I said, have them send me home. So one of the nurses one day, she asked me, she said, you're still here? I thought that you would be, discharged by now, da, da, da. One of the nurses thought I had already had my baby. Like, there were so many different people wondering, like, why is she still here? And then I explained what was going on. And so I asked her, I said, if I was to just, being that my symptoms are not, returning, but if I was to go home, if I was to, would it be possible for me to just leave, for me to go home? Especially since they're saying this, they're understanding, they're seeing that the symptoms haven't returned. And so the nurse said to me, you could do that, but you would have to sign a disclosure saying that that you went home against your doctor's orders and that we're not liable for anything that may happen. So I took that and I thought about it, and then God returned to my memory. This is not what you asked for. You asked specifically for them to send you home, not for you to go home on your own. So I think a week or two later, they actually sent me home. The doctor actually sent me home using the same exact words from the prayer that I prayed, that they were astonished at my progress. So I said all that to say that God brought that back to my memory, that experience back to my mind, for me to remember last time when you almost jumped the gun because you settled for what you thought was good enough as opposed to what you asked for. So I know what I want. I know what it is that there are certain things. My thing is this. I say, God, I give you the option. I say it like this. My prayer is, Lord, I want what you want for me. I want what you have for me. And you know what that is. However, if you give me a choice, this is what I would like to see. These are the details. If you give me details, if you give me the choice for certain details, this is what I want. And I'm learning to take that, and I'm learning to, and this is why it's so important to follow God. And I'm almost done. This is why it's important to have a relationship with God, because you know exactly what it is that when he says no to something, it's because he has something better. And we don't have to throw a tantrum and be like, oh, I'm never going to do it. My son is like that sometimes. Like, if he doesn't get what he asked for the moment that, if it's a no or a not yet, he'll have a tantrum, or he'll try. And it's a big thing, and it's, I'll never get it, and I'll never da, da, da. No, that's not. I am learning that. Remember what you asked for. And remember, at the end of the day, if you don't get exactly what it is that you're asking for, it's because I know you, and I know you well, and I know what you need. Even though you may think you want this specifically, you may only want or ask for, you may only feel like you're asking for this specific thing because you think that that's the level of where your mindset is. But the script Bible says that God is able to do exceedingly and abundantly above all that we can even ask or think. So yes, we may have an idea of what we want. Yes, we may have an idea of what we think that how far we think that we can go, or that we can only, we may limit ourselves to, okay, God, I'll accept this. I would like to have this, but I'll accept this. Nah, there are times when God will allow us to, again, be in on the details. He'll be in on allows, okay, this is where you need to be. I need you here. You want to pick the decor? Cool, you can do that. You know what I mean? So it's a matter of, and I'm learning that when I walk with God and when I allow him to guide every single step of my life, and when I allow him to when I understand that what he wants is for my good, and what he wants is to prosper me and for me to be in health, and what he wants is to godly, I'm losing it, Jeremiah 29:11. Oh my goodness. I'm so mad that because I know the scripture. I know it so well. To prosper you, never to harm you, to give you an expected end or hope in the future. Knowing that and being confident in the fact that God, at the end of the day, he knows me and he knows me well, and he knows what I can handle, and he knows what our desires are. I can walk with him in that, and I can trust. I'm learning to trust him with those details. I'm learning to trust him with the fact that if this is not it, like Andre 3000 song Prototype, I don't want a prototype. I want the real thing. I don't want this is good enough. I want what's meant for me. And sometimes that it's hard to say that, and it's hard to mean that, because we may feel that we are not worthy of what we want, or we're not worthy of better, or sometimes we even have this fear of, well, God's way. A lot of times God way, I don't know where we get this idea from, like God is going to make us settle per se for something that we don't really want. I don't know where that idea comes from, but I noticed that is something that I've heard a lot of people say, and I've heard a lot of people express fears of, including myself. Like, for some reason or another, I have this thing. I've had this thing, and I'm fighting it, where I feel like I have felt like it's a fear. I'm fearful of God um trying to say, okay, I know you like this, that, but I want you to have this. And I'm looking at it like, for real? Like, really? And I have to understand that God is not like that. That he's not like that at all. He's not looking to do exactly opposite of what we like. You know what I mean? So I hope that encouraged somebody. I hope that helps somebody, because at the end of the day, God's way is always the best. It is. It's always the best. And when we get to, and I'm still learning in certain areas of my life to trust him. I don't have it all yet. I don't have complete and full trust in him, but I'm getting there. And I'm learning that the journey is exciting because at the end of the day, what he wants for me is the absolute best. He gets no pleasure out of making us upset, out of giving us things that we feel like we don't want. He doesn't get any pleasure out of that. You know what I mean? So take that today. And with that in mind, try a little harder to put one more ounce of faith in God and his plan. Because at the end of the day, it's the best. It really is. And you don't realize it until after we get to where he's trying to take us to. And it's like, oh, I see what you were trying to save me from. I see what you were trying to keep me from. I got you. All right. So do what he says. Whatever instructions that God has given you to do that. Do that. Do that. Whatever it is that, because there are sometimes God will give us specific instructions to do certain things or to keep certain things in mind. And it's important that we follow those instructions. Real talk. All right. So I'm done. Wow, it's been an hour. So you guys have an awesome Saturday. I love y'all. I really do. And I appreciate everybody who has chimed in and everybody who has I mean, there's no comments here. I don't know if I just can't see it, but whoever may catch the replay, I hope that you guys are blessed by this. I hope that you guys are encouraged to keep moving and to trust God just a little more and to have confidence in yourself just a little more. Because at the end of the day, this life is so short and we're only here for a short amount of time. People are leaving here left and right. We need to live and we need to enjoy it while we're here. We don't have to wait. Heaven is a bonus. I'll put it like that. That's something that we're going to have to talk about at one point. Heaven is not the goal. It's the bonus. The goal is to be and do what it is that we are purposed to do here and enjoy it. That's part of it. That's part of it. Everything does not have to be difficult. Yes, there will be some difficulties in life. There will be a lot of difficulties, but everything does not have to be difficult. Enjoy your life. And when I say enjoy it, I mean enjoy it in the healthiest ways. Enjoy it in all around. Because that's what the will of God is, for us to prosper and be in health, even as our souls prosper. So he wants us to be healthy spiritually. He wants us to be healthy naturally. He wants us to be healthy financially. He wants us to be healthy mentally, emotionally, every single aspect of life. Everyone. Okay? So that's that. I love y'all. Until next time. Bye.